Alright guys, Hayzink here, welcome back to the channel for another Street Fighter Duel video, and in this one we're going to be jumping in and doing Luke's trial. I just want to say really quickly before we start, obviously some of you will have noticed that all the anniversary stuff isn't here yet, so it does look like they're probably just going to start rolling that out at the end of the countdown. So I would still expect us to get some sort of a cake event and stuff like that, and to be honest, I reckon this probably does increase the likelihood of us getting a half price divination, so maybe next week, probably next week, because that's when the countdown ends, we'll probably see the whole cake event popping up and stuff like that, and we may well see a half price divination summon popping up at that point, because they'll usually have something else to partner with it. But we can jump in just now and we can go through this Luke trial. So I will obviously do like a full breakdown of Luke and stuff like that, based on looking at him last night over on SEA server. I did think he was going to be a good unit, and they haven't changed him really, and he is a good unit. He's definitely going to be a very solid unit. You can see that here from his trial. Now I don't say that you should use a trial to prejudge a unit, so to speak, but you can sort of glean certain things from the trial, and what we can see here is Luke is going to be an absolute monster when it comes to dealing damage. When you've got him partnered up with the buffers that you want to use, with the debuffers you want to use and stuff like that, I can really see Luke's damage output scaling pretty damn high, so I would expect to see Luke doing some really good things on bossing and even on PvP, because when you've got him built with cars and stuff like that, he does have things like ignore damage immunity. In fact, he actually does increase damage to units who have some sort of a damage immunity effect. So yeah, you're probably going to see Luke doing pretty well, right? Now, I don't really know how that applies to certain units that have got damage immunity. Like, I still don't think that supersedes the do not drop below 1 HP for free in 8 seconds, because I don't think that's actually classed as damage immunity. So I don't think he'll be a counter to Overlord Bison, but he's certainly going to be someone who's capable of taking on all of these other units. So we'll see. Obviously we're going to do a full breakdown of him specifically in his own video, talking about his kit and stuff, and then hopefully quite soon I get him pulled to enough of a level where we can see how he functions and stuff and different content. But snap judgment is, he is pretty damn good. Just how high his ceiling is right now, not sure, but I think it's pretty high, to be honest. Just snap judgment, I do think it is pretty high. He definitely looks more impressive than Cammy. Cammy's good, don't get me wrong, Cammy's good. The issue with Cammy, in my opinion, is because the whole thing, I put out a video talking about this, because they are, the whole trigger thing isn't really, in my opinion, working correctly, as in you can cancel it, you're missing out on a lot of her damage, and if you want to get her damage, you've got to micromanage the gameplay so much, where even if you are like starting your next attack a few frames too early, you're missing out on some damage. So, you know, it's a bit of an annoyance, and for that reason I do think it ultimately kind of affects how good she is. But he does not seem to suffer from this, even though he's got a trigger. He certainly doesn't seem to suffer any kind of issues. He does seem pretty damn good, but again, I think we're really going to see him shine in the next week or so as people get their hands on him, get him built. But yeah, man, he's looking pretty tasty, looking pretty good. The only, I guess downside, he could probably stand to use, what's it called? Is it? I don't think they call it damage immunity. Maybe they do call it damage immunity. When he's actually performing some of his actions, he's out there quite a long time at the front, which can obviously make him quite vulnerable in PvP, which is why units like Leonardo have got that invulnerability, because they're out front doing their attack and their animation takes so long. They've got that kind of invulnerability built in. I'll need to double check through Luke's kit. I don't think he has it. In fact, on one of these stages he dies, and it's because he's out front so long. You'll see what I'm talking about, right? Which I think means that he could stand to benefit from getting something like that. If he had that immunity when he was doing his C3, for talking sake, he would, you know what I mean, be even better. But again, I think he's great. Right now, I think he's great. I reserve the right to change my opinion on that, but I really don't see that happening because he does seem pretty damn good. And if you're someone who's sitting on tickets, I definitely think he's someone that's worth going for. Remember, limited time, not going to be here very long. If you're planning to play the game for the long haul, you might want to have the only Street Fighter that's not in Street Fighter 4 in your game. You will have him just by doing the event anyway, but you might actually want to have him to a usable level. So if you're someone who dabbles in spending, I think the Grant's definitely worth it. I mean, the Grant's usually always worth it for a new unit, but for this unit in particular, I think the Grant is something that if you are an occasional spender, maybe you want to get it, because it'll make your life a lot easier, you know. I still think that when the anniversary event kicks off properly, I'm fairly sure, not 100% sure, but I'm fairly sure that the cake event last time gave us a starlight at the end of it. So I would expect it to be the same again. That is assuming they do the cake event again. I mean, I can't see them not doing it. But again, who knows? They don't seem to have actually kicked off the 1.5 year celebration, which means they're probably going to be doing it at the end of the countdown, like I said, which does make sense, obviously. And people might be wondering, why did you think it was going to start today? The reason I thought it was going to start today is because if you look at the login, you'll see the icon has now got the 1.5 year branding on it underneath Luke's face. But not only that, this is the 1.5 year. This is a year and a half since the game launched. We are now at that point. So when they start doing all the celebration stuff at the end of the countdown, we're technically already like a week into it. So they're technically late. So that's why I thought it was going to start today, right? But hey ho, something to look forward to next week, I guess. Again, there's no guarantee we'll get a unit along with that, but odds are I would say we probably will, and it'll probably have a kind of mini event attached to it, the same way that we've had for the last couple, which is good because that's a lot more rewards. Obviously we had the one before where you were trying to stop Ken from being framed for something, or Guy or whatever, I can't remember. And then there was another mini story thing that came, but you know, it's more events, it's more rewards, something to look forward to. The fact that it's not attached directly to this event the way that the Vega one was, it's in theory more to look forward to. So anyway, that's it, done, that's your teams. I don't know how many people are going to watch this one, because it was pretty damn easy, because Luke is pretty good. So yeah, snap judgment, looks like he's definitely a unit worth picking up. I've been Hayzink, thanks for watching, catch you in the next one, peace.